He's Reggie Miller. Reg will be on the call this Thursday night with Kevin Harlan. He's got the Nuggets and the Lakers, 10:30 Eastern on TNT. Reg joining us from Los Angeles. Reg, how are you today?
Good morning, Theodore. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm not panicking. It feels like, 3 losses in a row for the Lakers to open up the season. Local reaction feels like, should we be in a panic mode? What would you like to say to the Laker faithful?
Absolutely not. We're 3-4 games into a very long marathon season, and this is kind of what we expected. And even to the point where Rob Pelinka, Magic Johnson went to Luke Walton and said, hey, if you guys get off to a slow start, it's all right. We have faith in you, in this team. What it looks like to me is you've got the generational type superstar player in LeBron James and a lot of young guys that play hard but really don't know how to play. And now you add to it 2 key components being out, 3 to 4 games in Rondo and Ingram. I kind of think this is what we expected. The sky's not falling. The season's not over. Now, we can have this same conversation come Christmas and into the new year if they continue to play like this. But one glimmering sign of hope that I do see is they do play much harder than they've played the last couple of years. Now the question is, and I think this will be all on LeBron James, figuring out how to win ball games, close ball games. LeBron with the big 3, they found a way to push that game to overtime, but they couldn't find a way to win the ball game, and that's always the mark of a young team. And I think a lot of that will probably bear on the shoulders of LeBron.
Yeah, you can't blow a lead like that. That's where, good teams hold on to those leads. But, I'm just looking for sort of what is the momentum and growth that I see with the team. And that's the way I think that most people should and will approach this. But you do have people thinking, well, LeBron, there should be immediate results. And even when he went to Miami and went back to Cleveland, it just doesn't happen that quickly with him.
No, and the 2 places you just mentioned had much more talent and more veteran, had a more veteran presence than this young team. Again, when you add, a Rondo and you add Lance Stevenson and Beasley, guys that have been around the block a few times, people expect results quickly. That's just not the case because Luke Walton is playing a lot of young guys. Jonathan Williams, I was calling his games in Gonzaga last year during the tournament, and he's in the fourth quarter in overtime making big-time plays. So this is what you've got. It's growing pains, and you've got to understand that, and you can kind of see the expression on LeBron and the whole trust the process. It sounds a lot like Philadelphia, right? And we see how that's working out, right? So trust the process. Understand this is a young team. You're going to take your lumps. We can have this conversation if they're playing like this January 1st. That's different. But I'm going to give them a long leash just for the simple fact, I see this team all the time. They are playing much harder now than they did a couple of years ago. And a lot of times that's a big step for young teams.
The Rockets-Lakers fight. And I was surprised that Ingram only got 4 games and that Rondo only got 3. Because if you're spitting or you're, Ingram with a shot from behind, a cheap shot there, Chris Paul's going to get suspended because you throw a punch there. What did you make of that entire situation?
Number one, I will never, ever advocate violence. It's never been my motto. But I will say this. SHIT happens. Things happen. And I think what's been missing in our game is we have a collection of great stars, individual, but what's been missing has been team rivalries. Well, we have a team rivalry. There's been a decade-long history between Rondo and Chris Paul, and it's been simmering for a while. And with both of these teams being in the Western Conference, both teams, in my opinion, should be in the playoffs. We have another great rivalry, something that's been missing. And, it was a cheap shot by Ingram coming in behind. But in times like this, if you're the Laker fans and if you're the Lakers, you find out who's in your foxhole. And I don't advocate violence. I don't. But look, I've had my share. I've been in a few of them, more than a few. You find out who's with you. You want to know who's with you. Luke Walton, LeBron, I want to know who's with me. Ingram, I can roll with this dude. I can roll. Him and CP3, they have history, good history.
Do you think Rondo spit in his face?
Man, it depends on what angle you're looking at.
No,
I think
even if you find one angle, I don't need 10 if I find one.
No. Do I think he spit in his face? No. Do I think he was talking and spit came out and hit him in the face? Yes. Yeah, I don't think he was blatantly tried to, put a loogie on him. No,
it looked like he was trying to.
You think he wound up?
Yeah, I think there was intent there. I do. For Chris Paul to react that way, like what happened in that moment? Because if Rondo doesn't say anything to you, there has to be something magical that happened. A magic word.
They were talking.
Okay, what do you think Rondo said? Where all of a sudden,
magic. What was Rondo saying, or what was Chris Paul saying?
What was Rondo saying that made Chris Paul take a swing?
They probably consider you the best point guard in the league, and you haven't won. That's probably what I would say to rile him up. See, Rondo's got the chip underneath him, and that's been the one thing I think he's always kind of nitpicked with CP3. Yeah, you're a great point guard, but can your teams win? I mean, have you ever been past the second round until last year? He's probably saying things like that.
Do you think Rondo's a Hall of Famer? But that's not going to make me punch you.
Do I think Rondo is a Hall of Famer? No, I do not.
Okay. Who would you rather have, Rondo or Chris Paul?
Chris Paul.
All right.
But I will say this. Rondo in the playoffs depends on who the rest of my supporting cast. It depends on who the rest of my supporting cast is. Because now I'm wavering. Because give me Rondo in a 7-game playoff, no back-to-backs, where he gets a chance to study the opponent. I like Rondo.
Okay, but if you want him in the postseason, that's more important.
I got to get there, though. I got to get there. And a lot of the things that does not make Rondo great, it kind of rears its ugly head. But in a playoff series, Rondo's pretty good.
Anybody ever spit in your direction?
For the record, I do not think he's. More thing about, I do not think he spit. I think he was talking noise to him, and spit came out.
Okay.
And that's probably how Chris Paul reacted, and the rest is history. But we have a great team rivalry now between. Aren't you going to watch every time Houston plays the Lakers now?
But we were going to watch that.
No, not really. Not really.
The Lakers and the Rockets? Yeah, you will.
No. You would watch it, but now you're watching more in anticipation because every move, because they got to guard one another too. Every move now, I will be watching between these two.
Talking to Reggie Miller coming up Thursday night. It'll be the Nuggets and the Lakers. So, you got the Lakers losing to the Spurs, then they got Phoenix. And, this is a fun Phoenix team. They're missing a point guard, but they're a fun little team. And then you got Denver, and Denver's a playoff team. So a little bit of a stretch here. If you're going to handicap what you've seen so far, Golden State, obviously. Houston, the second best team. Who's the third best team in the West so far?
Well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because we talked about this. I said Golden State and Houston.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Houston anymore. I said, and I will say this now, 2 through 8, they're going to beat up on one another. There's only one outlier in the Western Conference and really in this league, and that's Golden State. But 2 through 8, they're just going to beat up on one another. That's why if I'm Luke Walton, Magic Johnson, I'm not worried early because everyone's going to beat one another. I had Denver at number 5, Lakers at number 6. I think Denver's as good as 2. If they stay healthy, they can get the number 2 spot. I am not sold anymore on Houston. They play zero defense now. As great as Harden and Chris Paul are, Carmelo does not look the same. I'm just not sold on them. I mean, they beat the Lakers barely, and then next night they lose to the Clippers. So 2 through 8 are just going to beat up on one another. So if the Nuggets can stay healthy, they can be number 2. I had OKC At 3, they haven't won a game yet. They lose at home to the Kings. Last night, Washington goes into Portland and beats Portland. Memphis on the road last night goes into Utah and wins. So if I'm LeBron, I'm looking at the Western Conference saying, what, these teams are better than us? Memphis goes into Utah and beats Utah. Come on, man.
Well, there's not many off nights. That's going to be the key. This is different than the East when people say, oh, just pencil in LeBron for 50 wins. And I said, no, you don't get those off nights. It feels like
that's why you got to win the games that you're supposed to win, especially at home. The games early count just the same as the games late. And if you're Utah, if you're Portland, you're going to think back to this one. You're going to think back to that Memphis loss. You're going to think back to that Washington loss at home when you're trying to jockey for seeds to get home court advantage. That's why there should not be any panic in the Lakers starting 0-3, because 2 through 8 are just going to beat the heck out of one another, and it's whoever gets hot late, like last year in the East. Philadelphia went on that 16-game winning streak going into the playoffs, and they had hot momentum. It's who gets hot late and can kind of find that rhythm.
Trae Young.
Right now, I have Denver as my number 2 seed.
Trae Young going off on Sunday. It was against the Cavs, but still, it's fun to watch. It feels like he's got the green light whenever he wants it there in Atlanta.
He does.
Is that smart to just let him go?
Yeah, it's an NBA game. It's almost like a rookie quarterback. He's going to take his lumps. He's going to take his sacks. He's going to take his interceptions, but you got to live with that because he's learning on the fly. And, 39 points is 39 points. It's an NBA game against NBA competition.
Reg, it's the Cavaliers.
George Hill, I believe at one time was an all-star, was on a team that went to the conference finals.
At one time.
At one time.
Have you seen the league? Reg, they're giving up about 130 points a game.
Everyone's giving up 135 points in the league. What was the score last night in that overtime game? Was it a 140? It was 140 to what? Everyone's giving up 140.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right.
Everyone's giving up that.
All right. How's Malibu?
Malibu is fantastic.
Any new celebrities?
When are you guys coming out here for the shows? That's in November, right?
Yeah, we're going to be out mid-November. We're coming out for the week, and we're going to go see, I think, a Laker game. We're going to see the Rams play. We're going to go see UCLA USC. We're taking all in the site.
Nice.
Yeah. This is my little Christmas gift to the Danettes. We're going to do that. Maybe we'll go to Malibu and hang out.
Come to Malibu so I can at least treat you guys to lunch. At least do that for my Danettes.
How's the neighborhood? Any new stars in the neighborhood at Malibu?
The victorious should have been Mr. Ryan Braun returned yesterday, so that's like big news on our street here, because we were all the neighbors got together and were watching the game, and it's sad how it ended because we were all pulling for Milwaukee, but we're happy. I'm always happy for small markets when they go up against Goliath.
But you hate the Dodgers, right?
I'm an Angel fan, so what do you think?
I know. I'm just letting people know that. I'm just saying. Do they have neighborhood parties in Malibu?
Some neighborhoods do, yes.
But do you go to a neighbor? When's the last time you and the fam went to a neighborhood party?
Well, our parties more so consist of birthday parties for a 2- and 5-year-old, so a lot of those, which we do go to.
Okay, but you do away games too, so it's not just a home game for your two little ones?
Correct.
Do you travel to other houses for birthday parties?
Of course, you have to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
What do you bring when you show up at a birthday party?
It depends on the age of the little one, but you can never go wrong, and parents are going to kill me on this, but you can never go wrong with cupcakes. Bring the sugar in because it's almost like dropping a bomb. You bring the sugar, and you're leaving, and they've got to deal with all those kids just going crazy, right? So you can never go wrong with cupcakes.
Oh, I'd love to see you parenting. How patient are you as a parent?
My patience has gotten much better because that's the Virgo in me. Because the Virgo is like, we do it like this every single time, structure. And with kids, there is no such thing as structure. And we're going to do it like this every other time. So it teaches you patience. But I have a wonderful, wonderful partner who is much more patient than I am. But I've been learning that.
Oh, I'd love to be around when you're parenting. I'd love to see how you're holding and, trying to.
I love my boogers. Oh, I'm a grizzly bear, too. Don't look at them crazy because then the grizzly bear comes out. So, yeah.
Safe travels there. The Lakers and the Nuggets coming up Thursday night with Kevin Harlan. We'll talk to you next week.
Theodore, you are truly the best. Thank you, my friend. Love you, Danette.
All right, bud. That's Reggie Aloysius Miller, Jr. III.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.